So, and I have all your pictures in the background here too, so they'll get to see those. Uh, so I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kurt Messick. I am your professor for the Philosophy and Religious Studies courses, and I'm here at Beltrace, where I'm chaplain, on Martin Luther King Day. And we have just had a video with many of the residents, and one of my friends who is a resident here was actually the star of one of our videos. And I thought I would get him to agree to do a video just for you for our classes, and he said yes. So let me introduce for you. I'm going to turn the camera around here so you'll see. This is Mr. Gene Shipp.
Yes.
And Gene Shipp is a veteran. As actually, I'm catching the blanket up there in the background. Is a veteran of World War II and Korea. And did you go to Vietnam also?
And Vietnam.
And Vietnam.
Three major wars.
Three major wars. And are you 96 now or 95?
95. I'll be
95?
96 in about two months. I'll be 96.
So we're heading close to 96, and one of the more sort of trivia remarkable pieces, I think, of Mr. Shipp is he still fits in his uniform after almost half a century of being out of the Army. But tell my students, if you will, most of my students are in the military. Many are active duty or have served. Just tell us what your experiences have been and what the significance of this day is for you.
Well, I enjoyed my military life, and I was inducted back in World War II when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And I was about age 22, and I served my country, and I enjoyed being in the military. It teaches discipline, and we all need discipline, and I got to travel and meet people, learn how to get along with people, all nations, all nationalities. I lived in Germany. My family and I lived in Germany for 7.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
When my kids came back to the States for their college, they chose IU. That's why I'm here today. A lot of people are asking me, how did you end up at IU? I came back because my kids came to IU for their college. And
Mm-hmm.
I have two boys and a girl, and they're doing well. And my son is 67, my daughter is 65.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm of an age, and I had a lot of history, but I enjoy here with all these nice old people here at Beltrace.
Yes.
They treat me with respect, and I've enjoyed my stay very much.
Well, we're very glad to have you here with us, and you're a very special person to us. And you're also active in your church
Yes,
here.
I'm a retired deacon from Second Baptist Church,
Mm-hmm.
and I've turned all the activity over to the young people. They run the things now, so I go there, sit and listen and enjoy them.
I know they encourage you to sing for them every now and then,
Yes,
too.
they request me to sing. But singing now is not like back in my day. I used to sing from the book, but now people they do their own thing.
Certainly,
and they're
certainly.
pretty loud, but I learned to get along with them.
Yes, yes. Well, I've noticed that about you. You're someone who gets along with
Yeah.
everyone, and I think that's a wonderful quality, and I wish I had more of it. I hope I have some of it as a chaplain. But one of the things I thought I might ask, especially since we had that in the video downstairs, you were interviewed for our local television station when Barack Obama was first inaugurated.
Right.
What was the significance of that event for you?
By my military,
Mm-hmm.
by being this age, can walk around and I'm the same size I was about 20. When I reach age by 22, I'm the same size. And that attracted people. Say, what do you do to keep your weight down? I said, I do everything in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
I eat in moderation. And of course, I want to eat more sometimes, but I don't. I just back away.
Mm-hmm. I need more of that myself as well. What would you say you have in terms of hope for the future? Where do you hope our country is going?
Well, there are a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of changes in my lifetime. And you
Mm-hmm.
know, at my age, each generation has its own way of activity and dancing and singing and all, but you have to change with it. A lot of people my age, they don't like to change, regardless of what. They want things to be just like when they grew up, when they were young people in the 50s and 60s. But you have to, if you don't, you get out of step.
Mm-hmm.
You're lost.
Certainly, certainly.
You have to make changes.
So, well, and specifically for my students who are in the military, what advice would you give them, either while they're in the military or after they get out?
Well, in the military, you have to obey orders. That's number one. Regardless of what you like, what you're doing or not. Orders are passed on down to the lower ranking people. And the lower ranked people, the blue collar, which is the private PFC, they the one that runs, they do all the work for the Army. It's passed from the officers down to the top NCOs. They tell you what to do, but the order has to be carried out by, the work be done is done by the lower ranking people. So my hat's off to them. I've been there. I know for years I was in that rank, but with my rank I have now, I passed the buck on, passed it on.
And what rank did you retire?
Master Sergeant.
Master Sergeant.
That's top sergeant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know all of my military students will know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
I do too. I grew up in a military family.
Yeah, you told me you was a military brat. So.
Yes, my father was in for 22 years. I think you
that,
have him beat.
I guess that's why we get along so well. You was a military brat. And my kids grew up military. They didn't know about nothing but civilian life till they came here to IU.
Mm-hmm.
They was on bases. They born in the military base and went to school, high school, finished high school. When they came here, it was college. I said, Dad, this is, hey. I said, you're in the real world now.
That is true. That's true.
Well, I know you say, you're from England. What's that? What you from? Scotland or what?
My family has Scottish background, like Campbells and Sutherlands and Jacobs. And
I want to say to you, but you don't have the accent.
No. Well, we traveled around, and we were always on different bases, and my accent never solidified.
Never.
So I sound like wherever I am for any length of time. So right now I sound like I'm in Indiana.
Yeah.
So what are some of the decorations that you received while you were in the Army?
Well, I go to my highest decoration, which is the Bronze Star.
Mm-hmm.
I received that in Vietnam.
Okay.
Well, there's so many, but I've just named the highest one.
Sure.
It's so many I can't say how many.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were in Patton's army in World War II?
World War II, I was the Red Ball Express.
Okay.
That was supply the Third Army with whatever's needed. Mm-hmm. Ammunition, clothing, food, whatever. Mm-hmm. Taking care of wounded people on the front line. But I wasn't in a combat outfit, but I was in a quartermaster trucking company.
Okay.
And we supplied the Third Army. Because Patton was hard to keep up with. He was on the go all the time.
He didn't slap you or anything, no.
He didn't slap me. I think he found out what slapping was.
So, and what did you do in Korea?
I was in a signal battalion.
Mm-hmm.
We kept communication from the front line up to the front line to the commanding officers, where his command was set up at. Mm-hmm. We had to keep up with that. See, when you're in a signal battalion, communication is what you had to go by. You order to move and go and come back. And when tanks come out, they run over the wire and cut the wires, and you get to go out and repair them, put them back together. Mm-hmm. It was a working thing the whole time we was there. Of course, I was in automotive. Mm-hmm. I had to keep the vehicles running. When they break down, because you go cross country, you're always breaking down.
Yes.
Somebody had to repair them.
Mm-hmm.
That's my whole career. After I finished that and I decided to stay in the military, I went to automotive school in the in Japan, Shinoko, Japan. That's why I stayed in automotive my whole career. And I was taught automotive in automotive schools in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and Vilseck, Germany. 10 years of that. And that was a very nice job, a skill to have in the military.
Certainly.
Teaching people to be mechanics.
Well, now I know when my car breaks down who to bring it to. You've been holding out on me.
Well, I know all about vehicles, from the largest tank to the smallest vehicle we have. I had to teach that in an automotive school.
Certainly, certainly. And when you got out, it was in the 70s?
I got out in 1971.
Okay. And what did you do as a career after the Army?
I worked for Public Service Indiana on these big bucket trucks you see. I repaired those.
Okay.
I had a steady job there. 10 years I retired from there.
Certainly, certainly.
So there was no more work. I finished, my last work was in 1982. That's when I retired. So I've been retired since then.
Well, we're lucky to have you here at Beltrace, and thank you for agreeing to do this video. I'm sure all my students at the Military University will be very appreciative, and so am I, for your service and your presence.
Well, it's a joy to be in your presence. I admire you. You're a very nice young man. I go to whenever I can. I'll be down Sunday at 4 o'clock to hear you speak.
Well, now, see, I have to tell you all, I paid him to say that. So I'll have the check for you a little later. But this is why I like to be a chaplain here. I get to learn from people who have much more experience than I do, and we get to share of our experiences in the world. And I think that's part of what education is all about. So I thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a good day today, and we'll remember the legacy and the hope that Martin Luther King Jr. Put for our country, that is embodied in some ways in Barack Obama as the first African-American president, also in others such as Mr. Shipp here, who has continued on in his career, both in the military and out, and raised a family and has now children who are also retirement age, and it just goes on from there. And as you can see behind me, I'll change the camera aspect a little bit here. All of these different pictures are of him and his family, and he has very extensive activity in the community and with family, and I hope that you'll be able to experience some of that in your life too. Thanks.